If you're a tradesman, then you've probably seen one of these before. It's called the Viking arm. What it does is it lifts precisely heavy things like doors, windows. It can lift beams and timber, lifting a weight of up to 150 kg. Now, I tried this out last week on a few doors and I was really impressed. And it was like a helping set of hands, almost like an extra arm. It works so precisely. I've got total control when I'm lifting or lowering a door. If I've got a lot of weight on that, it's not going to budge unless I press this button on the left, which lowers it down in small increments. You can release it quick, but I probably wouldn't use that button much because the door would come crashing down like that, and it may even come off. It's very helpful. And what I was amazed about is I've seen on other videos where people have had one either side of a door. And I thought, geez, I may need two of these. But I just centered the door in the middle of this. And it was brilliant. It held itself. I didn't have to balance it too much. Of course, I'm holding the other end of the door and I'm lining up with the hinge and everything. And I'm lifting the door up slightly until I get it to the right spot. And then I'm just working away and it just holds there nice. It doesn't want to tip off. And that surprised me too. Even on carpet, I had the door resting, centered, and it was just holding on its own. It didn't want to tip over and fall away. I mean, that can tip like that, but with all the weight of the door on it, it was just held securely. So that was something I didn't expect. And then you can slide the door across. But I noticed with two of them, you've got to bend down, right? And then you've got to squeeze that, and then you've got to probably squeeze the other one, squeeze that. And unless it's a very heavy door or you've got another person helping you, I don't see the point of that. So I'm quite happy just using the one. What I did find is this base. It's 6mm thick and a lot of doors don't have that gap underneath them. And especially when I like to use the Tidy Tradey work mat so I don't scratch or damage the floor or dirty the carpet, I couldn't slip it under most doors in a finished home. On a building site, when the carpet's not down or the tiles aren't down or something like that, this would fit under every door. So that's why I bought the optional extra, which is a small plate and it's only 3mm thick. What I found very impressive about this was I was having to take off some French doors and they open out onto a patio where there's a big drop of at least that. Normally I've got to get like a toolbox and then a packet with a screw box and then something else just to jam under the door so I can just position it so I can unscrew the door and take it off. But now, that's probably as high as I need it, probably not even that high to be honest. There's no other tool that can really help like that except an extra pair of hands. But I like to work alone. When you're hanging indoors, it's really a one-man job. I see two carpenters both standing there and they're fighting against each other because, 1mm back, 1mm forward, tilt to left, the right, and there's so much explaining, whereas if you just do it yourself, it's quicker and you just know what to do. So I would rather work with this and know that I'm controlling it exactly where I want, precisely, and it doesn't cost twice as much having two people trying to hang a door. So previously, I've always used the air sac. You slip it under and you pump it up with your hand or even your foot, which is brilliant. But as they get a bit older, they slightly deflate. And I find that sometimes when I'm marking out hinges, say 3 hinges on a frame, and I've already routed them out on the door, and I go and line it up, pump the sac up, get it in the right spot, I go and mark the top hinge, the middle hinge, the bottom hinge, and I think I should just mark the top hinge again, and I get up there and sure enough it's deflated 1mm. Whereas this, once it's in position, it's never going to drop. It's going to hold its own up to 150 kg of weight, which most doors don't get heavier than that. And so you've got total control, and when you want to go down 1mm or up a mil, and it's just going to hold. So it's very reliable. I'm very impressed. The stability of it, the handling of it, I'm putting a lot of weight on this. It's easy to squeeze up and down. Like, it doesn't take much effort at all. So it's like got a lot of leverage in there that just makes it easy to use. Another use for this, instead of spreading apart, you can close together. So this is like spreading apart or lifting. But if you take it up like this, I swap that over and drop that down from the top. It now becomes a compressor, so it squeezes together. And that could be useful for a lot of things. Straightening timber, squeezing up decking boards. It's unlimited. I mean, that's just an extra feature. It's very universal. So that's a nice extra. Just got to be careful when you take it apart, all the bits don't slide off. It goes together like that. And there you go. You don't forget to put the screw in. Let me show you what it's like when I put the smaller base on, the 3mm type. So I've got to unscrew, there's 6 screws there. And it's the hex type. So what I do is I remove all these. That is the thinner base for sliding under doors that are on a timber floor, which has a smaller gap. It doesn't have as long a base, which is a little bit of a problem because the door could slip off. It won't be as stable as the wider base, but if you're on a timber floor or a tiled floor, they should be still pretty sturdy. And you wouldn't lift a heavy weight like 150 kg, which that's recommended for, because I'd imagine those would bend eventually. When you're hanging a door, you don't have to lift it too far anyway. I mean, that's what I'd be using it for. Other people may install windows, or they may use it for decking or lifting joinery units. Another use is when I'm installing door hardware and I want to just jam the door tight so it doesn't move when I'm using my router and everything. I'll just put this under it, clamp it up, that'll firm the door for me. I hope you found this video useful, and you might even consider buying one of these one day. If you're a door hanger or a joiner or a carpenter, I'm sure you get multiple uses out of it. If you're like me and you're used to working on your own, but sometimes you may need the occasional hand, well, the Viking arm may just get you out of trouble. It's certainly going to help me when hanging doors. Thanks for watching. You may even consider the Viking arm.